views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff and management of WWDB-TV.
Hello, welcome to the latest edition of Let's Talk Sports with Rick and Jack. How are you?
Good,
Good
sir.
to see you. Good sports week. Thanks for joining us. It's been another interesting week in sports. It appears that the pandemic is really starting to affect college football.
Big time.
I mean, what's going on there? I mean, I know all of you are seeing this, and particularly you people that gamble on the games. Boy, a whole lot of, at least a dozen games aren't going to be played, and the top teams aren't going to be playing.
The number one team in the country, and it's not playing this weekend. It's like, against
Alabama, LSU. So
what's going on?
What's going on?
Do you think I point it down, boil it down to selfishness as far as people not taking precautions, what they're supposed to do, washing their hands, wearing a mask, just being sanitary in general, because your actions are gonna affect so many more people. Like, so just the precautions are not there, and it's just, for me, it's selfish.
Yeah, it's really becoming rampant in college, and what keeps reverberating in my mind is when they said they weren't going to play college football and we were going to have a delay, and all the head coaches came out and said, "Oh well, the kids are better in our care than they are in not playing and all going home. They're going to get corona." They're going to get COVID-19 at home, but they're not going to get it if they're with us. Well, they are. These kids are leaving practice, and I don't know if they're going to bars or hanging out with their girlfriends or what they're doing. But it's interesting to me that all these colleges are having a problem, and the NFL is doing a decent job of keeping it under control. Those guys don't stay. They're not in the bubble, those NFL guys.
No.
And really, the NFL, I mean, there's been a few cases, but it's not bad. I mean, what do they got to do in college football to get this right, or should they cancel the season, or should they extend the season? Because as you mentioned earlier about this, well, we're on December 20th, we're going to say who's in the playoffs and who's in the bowl games. It's looking to me you stop canceling games, reschedule them, and make the season longer. I mean, what do you think?
Absolutely, because then what you're doing now is you're going to do a watered-down selection, so Alabama doesn't play this week, right? So what do? When is that game going to play again? And then you have a team like BYU that's undefeated right now, right?
Yeah.
So does that mean they get an invitation because they have 2 more wins than
Yeah.
say Alabama does? Or are you just going to say your dedication to keeping your team safe and being able to play all your games, you're not going to get rewarded for that, to be in the playoffs? Because guess what? You won all your games. Granted, maybe the strength of schedule is not the same, but guess what? You know what's stronger is your discipline to keep your team safe for the greater good of the entire sports.
Yeah, and a perfect example is the University of Florida. Early in the season, they had a problem. Some games got rescheduled. Now they got it under control. They're playing good football. They had a great game last weekend. I mean, they really looked good. They played very, very well. They beat Georgia up pretty well, and that kid Trask, a quarterback for them, is good. But their coach had it. Some players had it. There was some concerns, but how did they address the concerns? They made some changes, right?
Yes.
Because now they're okay. Now they're playing. And I know you got 100 kids in the program, and it's much different than football, as opposed, pro football these days has like 60, but these kids, there's over 100 in the program. But there's kids that aren't paying attention. There's staffers that are letting them get away with things. And again, to me, a perfect example is Florida, who's controlling it now and didn't control it early. So, college coaches, college administrators, get on board and, get these kids paying attention and, going straight from practice and doing whatever they have to do, doing their homework in their dorm.
But no matter how much rules and stuff that they put in place, it's going to come down to that individual having some type of restraint and respect to follow the rules.
Yeah.
And not be selfish.
Why does a Trevor Lawrence have the problem and get it, and it's affected the team? They lost last week, but not all the other players on the team. Is he being more social? He's out there, all the interviews, going to be #1 draft choice, Heisman Trophy candidate. Is he out there too much?
I probably so, and this is where you have to protect yourself. You are potentially the number 1 pick in the draft if you don't stay. So then, like, what are you not doing? Are you that gross where you're not washing your hands, you're not doing the things that you're supposed to do?
Yeah.
Or you're not wearing the mask, or are you just saying, I'm fine?
Yeah. And the problem isn't just a college football problem. As you see, the number's 120,000 a day in America now. It's going up again in America. And again, as you were talking earlier, it's about people not paying attention, period, and getting lazy about it. But we just hope college football gets played every week. More and more games are being canceled, and it's like it's getting kind of eerie that it's if it gets much worse, they're just going to shut it down. And you can't have, it was close to a dozen games this week not being played. I mean, next week we're going to have 2 dozen, and before you know it, there's no use of having a college football season. People really got it, and across America, just not college football. People really got to get on board with doing safe practices and doing what they've been asked to do, and just staying out of harm's way. I know it's tough, but we all got to do better at it. Speaking of college football, Trevor Lawrence. What happened to our number 1 team, Clemson? How many straight regular season games had they won? 30-something, 32 was it? Anyways, big bad Notre Dame took them out.
Yeah,
what do you think?
There's nothing to think about. I gave them out. We gave our opinion on it last week.
We gave the game out
because
we gave you Notre Dame, by the way.
We knew that they were going to win without Lawrence, and you can see the difference not having Lawrence in there. The fact that 3 years with the team, he has consistency. They have him as their leader, and he would have found a way to win that game. And guess what? They didn't have him, so his team lost, and that comes down to what. So you see the difference that you make with the team. Whatever happened, however he got it, affected his entire team, and may cost them even going to the playoffs.
Yeah, I think what you say has a lot of validity to it. He is a fine player. He is a difference maker. He's a leader, and he puts them in a position to win. I would have to say, though, that all being said, I still think Notre Dame, even if Clemson had Trevor Lawrence, is a better football team, and I'll tell you why. Notre Dame is very, very physical on both sides of the ball, talented and physical. They out-physicaled a very physical team. Notre Dame on offense, defense, special teams, those are a bunch of bad boys. They are very, very physical. I've said it all year. I think in the end they're going to prove that them and Ohio State are going to be the 2 top teams. I believe that still. I believe that Notre Dame may be the number 1 team in the country. They didn't discourage my thoughts after that game. I believe even if Trevor Lawrence would have played, and they'll probably end up playing each other again. I hope they do. But I think Notre Dame's a better football team with or without Lawrence.
Well, this is probably Kelly's the best team he's had so far.
He's got a great team. And, Kelly's done a good job. It's just that you play serious football. You play a lot of big games at Notre Dame, and they've lost a lot of tough big games. But I believed all along this is Notre Dame's year. And I believe that they will continue to roll. Anybody else in college football catching your eye besides, Ohio State's really played nobody. We know Justin Fields is the man and probably going to win the Heisman Trophy now that Lawrence has been out. But you think Ohio State is a capable contender that they can play, or is Alabama the best team? I mean, Alabama's done nothing wrong. Ohio State's done nothing wrong. Notre Dame's done nothing wrong. Clemson's done nothing. Those are the top 4 teams, right?
Yes.
I can't put Texas A&M in there with
No,
them. Can you, or BYU?
No.
I can't do it. Neither one of them can play with those teams.
But
Florida maybe.
But they're winning the teams. They're winning the games that they're supposed to win. So when it comes down to it, them having perfect records, you tell me they're not going to be rewarded for that in the end. So then that comes down to there's a flaw in the system. You need more than 4 teams to really say who's the best team when it comes to at the end of the season, and having an 18 playoffs system would give you would give you it's a tournament in a sense, a tournament style. Like let's really see who can you win 3 games?
Yeah, I'd love that.
3-4 games.
What's interesting is Clemson and Notre Dame are going to end up playing each other in the ACC title game. Notre Dame's in the ACC for 1 year. They let them in so they could play some games. Now they're going to play in the title game, so they are going to play each other again. So that's going to be interesting, man. Because
So then now you're a 2-loss team saying Clemson. So do you get knocked out of consideration?
Or they go one and Clemson wins this time around and they both stay in the top 4. But I think for me it's a foregone conclusion unless Florida. I think Florida has the potential. I really like that offense of Florida's. They have the potential to maybe get in the top 4. I didn't see anything in the Pac-12 that impressed me. Did Oregon impress you? Did USC impress you? USC should have never won that game.
And
what a joke that was.
That's the game that I want to talk to you about because I like Herm Edwards as a coach, right?
Yeah, great motivator.
So my question is, like, I know when he recruits not only talent, but he also recruits character. But is he a coach like, say, a Coach Thompson was when he coached for Georgetown, where he'll bring a guy in with so much talent but a lot of baggage, like an AI, and help mold him into a better human being? Do you think is that one of the reasons why it's gonna hold back Herm Edwards from doing better? Because he's always gonna recruit character first.
Yeah.
Over talent.
Yeah, it's a great point you make. I think that Herm Edwards is a great leader, a great motivator of kids, a great example, and he loves his kids. And they played a SC team who had so much more talent than them. I think SC had 16 out of 21 players on both sides of the ball, 8 coming back, and SC shouldn't have won that game.
No, not at all.
At the end of the game, what happened was a joke.
It's almost like a bad beat.
Yeah, it is a bad beat because, SC looked horrible. SC's not the SC old. I can't stand the way they play. They got a horrible coach. They still don't fire Clay Helton. He should have been fired 3 years ago, and the guy sucks. They're a terrible team with so much talent. But to your question, I don't think Arizona State is ever going to get the recruits to be a top team in this world anymore. The top recruits are going. They're leaving California, wherever they're at, and they're all going into the SEC. They're going to Alabama. They're going to LSU. They're going to these schools, and these kids want to play in the SEC. And I don't believe that, even in Oregon, a great coach, Cristobal's a great coach, another great leader, loves his players. Oregon didn't impress me against a weak Stanford team. I mean,
they were supposed to win, so they won.
And they didn't win big. I don't know. I just think that you got 4 teams out there right now that are going to continue to lead. And I love guys like Herm Edwards they do the best thing for the kid. They teach them to be men and have great lives after football, because so many don't make it to pro football, or if they do, it's a quick dance. But a team like an Arizona State with a Herm Edwards, he's going to get better and better, and they're going to continue to be competitive always. But it's very tough to get to the big dance. It's tough to break that top 4. And like you say, we need a top 8, a playoff for 8. But it's so messed up right now. I don't even know that we're even going to get through this season. So college football, watch it this week. A lot of disappointing things happened, and a lot of games aren't going to be played. But we'll talk more and more about college football as it evolves over the weeks, and we'll see what's happening and who's going to be up top. Now, again, Alabama's not going to play this week, so we don't get to see the number 1 team, and does it change things? So, anyways, we'll talk more college football. Last week was fun. We both gave out that Notre Dame game, and we just want everybody to control as much as they can COVID and play college football. And we'll talk more and more about it. But right now we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the Masters and a couple of other sports that are going on, and exciting weekend for the Masters. So we're going to take a break right now. Please join us in a minute. Thank you.
Bob Allen Golf has a full tour shop for all of your repairs, including re-gripping, reshafting, loft and lie adjustments, whatever you need. Bob has the only full swing simulator in Las Vegas. Get your next set of golf clubs custom fit right here at Bob Allen Golf, located at 6415 South Fort Apache, Las Vegas, 89148. With Bob Allen Golf, your game is in the bag.
Hello, welcome back. Thanks for staying with us through the break. We had quite a conversation about college football and our thoughts about COVID-19 and the problems that are going on. And again, we'll continue on with that and hope we have a season But we want to talk a little bit about, just briefly, an overview on NFL. You know, our NFL show will be coming up. Please watch that. Enjoy it. We gave a lot of great picks out last week. If you put a few coins on it, as we like to say, you made some good money. But welcome back, Jack and Rick, to the second segment of this show. We're going to talk a little bit about, give me an overview on the NFL, just something, a little teaser for our show coming up that our friends will be watching, and that's really been a popular show.
The old cliche is like, you know, basically over time the cream rises to the top, and it's exactly what we're seeing right now.
You're so right.
It's exactly what we're seeing right now, and you know the great teams, the good teams are being good. The mediocre teams, they're right there in the middle. You see them, and the bad teams like the Jets, like Cincinnati, they're right there, they're down at the bottom. So that's my overall assessment right now. And again, with the injuries and stuff, it's going rampant. It's not only COVID that you have to worry about, but you have to worry about these high ankle sprains, the quads, the groin injuries. That's my overview right now.
Okay, going into the second half of the season, who's the best team in the NFL?
I look at Green Bay. Green Bay looks like they're right on the spot where they're supposed to be. Kansas City, of course, is like, was that as just a fluke game with the Raiders when they won that? And I do like New Orleans, but I don't know. Let's see.
They look good against Tampa.
Let's see.
They look good against Tampa.
Give me a couple more weeks, because as we're going into the season, we're gonna see how Father Times holds up with Drew Brees, and if he's playing excellent ball after that, I can actually see him, you know, them going to the Super Bowl and winning.
Oh, they're loaded. New Orleans is loaded.
I think this might be his last season. He's still one more year on the contract, but I think if he wins the Super Bowl this year, he's gonna ride off into the sunset and call it a day.
Yeah, he that would be great. That'd be a good way to go out, and he's had a great year. I personally, and you know, I think you're very succinct in your thinking that the cream is really rising to the top in the NFL, and we kind of said that was going to happen. That the top teams are rising, and the poor teams are going down, and the medium teams are staying right in the middle. So, until Pittsburgh gets beat, they're the best team in the NFL. That's just until somebody beats them, they're the best team in the NFL. Now, is that right or wrong? It's more than likely wrong. But I'm going to say I'm going to stick with Pittsburgh until they lose.
After what they did last week, come on, man, they should have creamed. Creamed Dallas.
Of course, but Dallas wanted to get moving, and they moved pretty good, and they played well. But Pittsburgh didn't show up. They showed up enough to win. Pittsburgh showed up enough to win.
And stay undefeated.
And it's 8-0 is 8-0. 8-0 is 8-0 is 8-0. And I'm going to stick with Pittsburgh until they lose. Big Ben, baby. Big Ben back there.
Okay.
Anyways.
Too much football.
Too much.
Please, go watch our next show to get more in depth.
We talked a little. We'd love to talk about NFL, as you know, from our other show. A lot of great picks. Watch that show. We're looking forward to seeing you at our NFL show. And we're going to finish this show up by talking about the Masters today.
Yes.
Who's going to win? What do you like? Who do you see? We got some interesting odds here, man.
Are we going to go with the favorite with McIlroy?
I'm not. 10-1 odds. Wow. I mean, you can get the favorite in the Masters. You talk about taking about 4 or 5 guys and putting a few coins on it.
Tiger Woods, 40-1.
I might put 100 on 5 guys. Look at this. John Rahm, 12-1. Koepka, great golfer, 15-1. Justin Thomas, 14-1. Tiger, 40-1. Anybody going for Tiger Woods? Not me. He hasn't played enough.
No, he hasn't. What about Fowler at 60-1 odds?
I'll tell you, Ricky Fowler is a great golfer, a colorful guy. I love him. He's good for the sport, but the guy never wins the big one.
What about DuChambeau?
Well, you know,
at 9-1 odds.
He's hot. He is hot. He's playing very, very well. And you know, when we talked about him after he won that last tournament and how humble he was, and
very humble.
Talked about his losses and his failures being the reason that he won. And you know, he's going to be right there. He'll be right there. We know that he can drive the hell out of the ball. That guy can really hit the ball, man. And you know, he pumped up and got bigger, and it's been good. I like 50-1 a couple of guys, Justin Rose and Adam Scott, 50-1. I like those 2 guys. Patrick Reed, of course, has won the Masters. Bryson, you know, he's playing good and hitting. He's 9-1. He started at 30-1. What do people know? Opening odds on DeChambeau, Bryson, were 30-1. Today he's 9-1.
Huh. Do they know something that we don't know?
He must be on the top of his game. Another one, Scheffler. That kid is a great golfer, Xander Scheffler. He comes out of Southern California. Great little golfer. I love watching that guy. He started at 25-1. He's 14-1. Watch out. Dustin Johnson, you know, he's been number one for, you know, several months. He's had his time in the sun in these golf tournaments early this year, but he did go down with COVID. And as we've seen with Cam Newton, when you come back from COVID, you're just not 100% there. So I can't go with Dustin Johnson. Justin Thomas, again, man, he's always on the fringe looking in. And a guy that I love to bet on, and he stayed consistent in the betting, is John Rahm out of Spain. John Rahm is a great golfer, but another guy on that last round and those last few holes just doesn't get there.
Just not. Is it the problem finishing, or more on the putting side, or just?
It's his overall game. The last 5-6 holes. John Rahm, he's my favorite golfer. He's just consistent, quiet, does his thing, greatly talented, but he just doesn't get there. Maybe this is it. I just can't bet on him.
Maybe he's worried about just finishing and going to the 19th hole, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. You know, the 19th hole is always a good one. They love to hit the seltzer. But anyways, you know, it starts Thursday. You know, so many people love and watch the Masters. It's been a tradition in a lot of families, and it's always a lot of fun. It's a different year. There's things that make it different. No crowd. What do you think that no crowd is the effect? Because that's the tournament where you get the roar of that crowd. I've never heard such a roar at a golf tournament as I do the Masters, and it was so thrilling. No people. What's going to happen here?
But my thing with that is, it's one of the sports where you should be quiet, but the lack of crowd is going to actually affect it more than it doesn't. Like
Well, it's one of the, it's funny that you say that. It's that crowd where, you know, he's going to hit the ball, be quiet, but as soon as he hits it and it goes in the hole, or it's an incredible 400-yard drive, the crowd goes crazy, or they sink that 20-foot putt, or they hit that chip off, you know, and hit it in from 30, 40 feet. That's fun, and I mean the Masters.
So
again,
is that my problem? So I don't have the crowd behind me.
Professionals don't need the noise, just like the football game.
I guess I need the noise because Is that why I play so horrible?
Yeah, well,
because I don't have the crowd behind me. Is that what you're saying?
Well, that might be a talent thing. That might have to do with your skills, my friend.
Oh, okay,
listen,
just trying to see if I can get any help.
Listen, about you and I playing golf, that would be a comedy, because I was the guy who was going to be a top-notch golfer in my mind, and I'd go take lessons and practice. Then I'd go out on the golf course, and I'd hit that drive 300 yards the other way, and I'd throw my clubs. I was a guy who had, that little ball was up. I hated that little ball. He would laugh and scream at me, and that's why I don't play golf anymore. I rather lift weights, and the weights don't talk back. The golf ball talks back.
Yeah,
So
that's why you smack it.
yeah, well, anyways, it's going to be fun with no crowd, and again, it's going to get dark earlier. You got to remember, when they played the Masters, it's always in the springtime, and it gets dark later. Now we're going to be getting dark at 5 o'clock. The sun's setting at 4:30. How's that going to affect the game? It's going to affect the game. They're not used to playing the Masters at that course with the sun going down. The sun's always way up there.
Not to mention the fact that now the guy that's teeing off later on, he's actually going to feel rushed because he's trying to beat the light.
Yeah.
So how's that going to affect them? Is that going to give the guys that tee off early in the morning a better advantage because they just get to play their game?
Yeah. So, I mean, a little thing like that people don't think about.
Lots to think about, especially when
the time of light. Of course, they're going to start earlier, but, you know, it slows down. And as the sun's going down, some of these guys are going to be finishing. The shadows and everything affect the game.
Absolutely.
The shadows.
Your depth perception is how far. And
yeah. So the crowd noise, lack of it, and it getting dark earlier, both are going to affect players' psyche. So who in this group is going to have that mental strength to win it? I believe the tournament this year, they're all so talented. It's going to come down who is mentally stronger to handle the adverse conditions that are not present when we generally have a Masters, which is a great tournament. And I know you'll all be watching it. Who are you going to go with? Give me two.
I do. I like DeChambeau when it comes to when you talk about that mental toughness. You know, his last interview, he talked about his failures and how they impact him and brought him where he's at right now. And that's somebody that looks like they have a good mental strength to deal with the adversity, especially if he's teeing off later on in the afternoon. And I'm gonna go out on a limb. I do like Adam Scott, even though he's a 50 to 1 odds. I'll put $10 on him.
Good golfer. Good golfer. I'm going to go with, I really like Xander Schauffele. A young man, great golfer, consistent, good little golfer. I'm gonna take him as my number one, Schauffele.
Okay.
And my number two, I'm going to go with John Rahm. So I'm going to take the winner, Xander Schauffele. Number two, Rahm. And a third, Koepka. That's my 1, 2, 3. You all play it as you like. It's fun to bet on some of these guys, and you should get your bets in today or tomorrow. And you know, as we say, put a couple coins on it. Not a lot. A couple coins are fun, but this is fun to watch it and have some bets and have some what ifs. And the Masters is awesome. We're looking forward to watching it. Thanks for watching this show today. Did you have anything else you wanted to add before we get out of here?
Like, share, and subscribe. And
Share, and subscribe.
And hit that notification button.
Please. We take a lot of pride in this show. We think we provide a lot of good information. Again, last week we gave out Notre Dame, and if you would have put, some coins on it, you would have done okay. That was a big game of the week, and we surely weren't going to bet USC and all the 11 points they were given.
If you picked, and then, segue into our football show, our first 9 picks last week. If you put those on a 9-teamer, you wouldn't have to work for the rest of the year, or Christmas will be paid for.
We talked about it.
I'm just saying. So watch our show. You'll definitely get some good picks.
Yeah. That's correct. What you said there. We had a good week in the NFL, and if you're not playing it and betting and doing parlays and taking both teams that we gave out, one you gave a team, I gave a team, our picks of the week.
And I said,
watch that show, please.
I told you guys,
this show, please.
By 2 touchdowns, Green Bay was gonna win, and they won by 17. So watch our show.
They were playing the inept 49ers. But anyways, thanks for watching. It's always great. Like the show, share it. Join the station, WWDBTV. Continue to watch us. This is a lot of fun. And again, we put you in a place to make money.
Yes, sir.
So thank you, and let's go on to the next thing we got to do today. God bless you.
Thank you.